All right, what is up, my homies, and welcome to Day 2 Gray Gaming. Today on another episode of Settlement Builds for Noobs, we're going to be taking a look at Murkwater Construction Site. So, on some settlements, whether it's Murkwater Construction Site or another example is Nordhagen Beach, you end up with a decent-sized settlement to build on, but the terrain isn't the best. It's either a complete slope all the way across, or it has a lot of slopes and a lot of pools of standing water. Like here at Murkwater Construction Site, you can see we're in the middle of a swamp. So it's not the easiest location to build on. And so it's for that reason that I have decided to show you what I call a platform build. And so a platform build is designed to basically level off the entire field and also to put your building space above like bushes and cattails and things like this that would usually clip through objects that you construct in the workshop. So here we're going to go ahead and do our normal formula of looking at the location on the map, do a quick shot around the perimeter, and then tour our settlement. So let's get right to it. So you can see here the Murkwater Construction Site is in the southernmost portion of the map. It is the most southern location you can build within the Commonwealth. So you see there's not a lot out here. We have the glowing sea over here. We have the Warwick Homestead, and we have the Quincy Ruins over here. So this is a very difficult location to reach. It's probably going to be one of the last, if not the last, location that you're able to reach in the Commonwealth in order to construct on. If you look here under Caravan View, I do link this location back to my primary settlement, but I'm thinking that it might be necessary to build another secondary hub like I have at the Taffington Boathouse, probably like Hangman's Alley or somewhere like that, that links a lot of these minor southern settlements together. But for right now, it's linked to my primary location. So let's go ahead and take a stroll around the perimeter of the settlement, shall we? All right. So here you can see from the outside, it looks very similar to our wall build. And a major reason for that is there is an actual wall around this particular platform. But you can see the platform itself is slightly recessed over the rest of the wall, just like in the areas of, say, my Red Rocket truck stop, where I wasn't able to clip a wall under the ground. I didn't feel the need to build wall down here just to make it look level. That's a lot of building materials just for a very slight increase in aesthetic pleasantness. So here again, we can see that it is a rather large platform. There is this completely destroyed house in the middle of the settlement, as well as a barn that was never completely constructed. For the purposes here, I just have a Brahman feeder in here, and this is where the cow lives, but there's not a whole lot that you can do with that structure. I also have this elevated platform, and that's all it is. It's a platform. There's nothing inside it. And then there is this structure here, and we will go over all of these and tour each of these structures as we get into it. And so that's pretty much the entire settlement right there. So right here you can see we have this forklift that cannot be scrapped, and we have the barn that can't be scrapped. So let's go ahead and check out the settlement itself. So there's only one way in to this particular settlement, and it's right here up this stairwell. So you can see once we're inside, this looks very similar to, say, our wall build or maybe the promenade build that we had in the Warwick Homestead and at the Red Rocket truck stop. And a large reason for that is we are building around this platform, and the best way to go is up when you're dealing with platforms. And so that's what I chose to do here. So we have this enclosed area all the way around. It's very well lit, and for the most part right now, because this is such a isolated settlement, there's not a lot going on. I built a bar, I built a general trader, but that's about it. But if I wanted to expand and add a doctor's office or a armor dealer or a weapons dealer, I can just keep building underneath this large flat platform here. Moving over here, we have the Overseer Suite, which I locked behind one of these shop doors. And here we have my personal workshop. We have a long wraparound desk. We have a small dining area. and we have a small sleeping nook in the back, and we have a private bathroom here. So that's all pretty much just for my purposes. And I keep it locked behind the door so that other people can't get in here. So moving up to the second level, we can see we have our normal housing. So behind all the blue doors is our accommodations for workers. So we can see we do have just a bed. I didn't even bother putting a trunk in here, but you can add trunks, you can add whatever other accommodations you want for your settlers to have compartments to store their stuff or other furniture for their personal comfort. This is a very minimalist build. I didn't go nearly as in-depth as I wanted to for a lot of things, but I was also experimenting with other slight variations on styles you may have already seen from some of my other videos. So you can see here we do have one other lavatory for the rest of the settlement to share. It's just a toilet, a sink, and not a lot else. So here we do have a small gym. It's not as big as the normal gyms that I construct. It's just a pommel horse and a weight set. Not a lot of fanciness going on. You'll also notice there isn't a arcade at this particular settlement, and a lot of that has to come down to power generation. So rather than building a nuclear reactor like I normally do, I decided to play around with windmills. So you can see I have a series of different windmills which don't generate that much power, but they also don't require too much special materials in order to construct. So for a long time, this settlement wasn't even part of my normal network of caravans. So I had to scrounge whatever I could from the South Boston area. And so these were just a better use of my materials. And they also give this place a very different aesthetic from my usual settlements. Additionally, we do have our rooftop garden, which is just a couple small plots. There are only a small number of settlers living here. I think there is 3, including our caravaner. So it's just the guy who runs the bar and the person who runs the garden, if I remember correctly. So moving up to our top level, we get to see all of these turrets. And the nice thing about the platform builds is that it's very easy to defend, and it's very easy to place turrets exactly where you need them. Now, I kind of forgot where all of the spawn points are for this settlement because it gets attacked so infrequently. I wasn't sure where to place my turrets. And so for here, I've kind of got them pulling double duty, where they're able to either fire if they spawn outside of our platform, but I also have them able to look down in case they spawn inside the platform here. So I kind of have that authoritarian type of prison type situation where you're protecting from the outside and within. All right, so in addition, this build also has a couple sky bridges, which links it to the rest of these platforms that we have. So here we have our elevated artillery platform, which is currently unmanned, but that's due to the low number of settlers here, not due to a restriction in me actually wanting to man them. All right, and you can also see around here that there is a lot of room for additional turrets if I want them. You'll also notice that most of these turrets are non-powered. They're standalone turrets that are ballistic turrets. I am not using missile turrets or the heavy laser turrets or even spotlight turrets, just because they require a large amount of electricity. So you'll notice there's a lot less electrical component and a lot less of a high-tech aesthetic to this build style. And so moving across this sky bridge, we're entering into our pump house. So I have a industrial water cooler here. We are in the middle of a swamp. There's copious amounts of water available. And so I constructed this pump house around it. And it's very simple. It's just a ring of platforms. And you can kind of see here what I'm talking about trying to raise your settlement above the brush line because it just clips through your flooring anyway, and so that's another reason to build your platform. And here I just have this ring around, so if anyone needs to do maintenance on the water purifier, they can walk down here and wade through the water if they want. And this is also kind of an experiment in the barn roofs that you get from, I believe it's the Far Harbor DLC that gives these. And from the outside it looks pretty cool, but from the inside you kind of see there is a bit of an air gap. So I don't really like that aesthetic, but from a distance it doesn't look half bad. And so from there, the gap is still kind of noticeable, but not nearly as much, especially if you're just running past it. And really, that is it for this settlement. It's extremely basic. It is very low intensity as far as the resources necessary to build. I'm making a lot more heavy use out of wood than I normally do. Normally I do almost all concrete structures. And one reason for that is simply the fact that here at Murkwater Construction Site, there are a large number of trees to scrap, and so there's a lot of building materials already here for your use. So as you can see, this is very empty. There's not a lot of people here, not a lot of amenities, but there's a lot of room to expand within this platform, and it also just looks very clean in comparison, where there's not a lot of stuff clipping through the floors and you don't have kind of that dirty, brushy aesthetic that you sometimes have to deal with when you're looking at sites that have this as your buildable area to work within. So that is it. If you have any comments, concerns, or other additional information and feedback, please feel free to drop it in the comments below. As always, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share with your friends. I love posting these videos. I love recording them. I love building the settlements. And the more engagement that I get gives a whole lot more motivation to continue posting videos and content exactly like this. As always, it has been real, and I will see you all here next time at Gray Gaming. Have a good one.